Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week, as February becomes March, Black History Month comes to an end. But I want to be clear, every month is Black History Month because Black history is American history. Today, I'm thinking of the amazing Black women and men who inspire us daily and who change the world. I'm thinking of Ruby Bridges, who at only 6 years old became the first Black student to integrate a Southern elementary school. I'm thinking of Gwinnett's own Beauty Baldwin, the first Black woman to be a school superintendent in Georgia. I'm thinking of Hank Aaron, who showed the world the meaning of Black excellence when he broke Babe Ruth's home run record, and he was a proud Georgian. I'm thinking of Dr. Martin Luther King, an Atlanta preacher who shared his dream with the world and in the process changed it forever. And I'm thinking of Senator Raphael Warnock, who preached from the same pulpit as Dr. King and who now follows in his footsteps as an advocate for change. I'm thinking of Kamala Harris, our nation's first Black and first female vice president, and of all the Black and brown girls around the country who are finally able to look at the White House and see themselves reflected there. Finally, I'm thinking of our beloved Georgia friend, mentor, and colleague, John Lewis. Congressman Lewis would have turned 81 this weekend. Congressman Lewis spent his life getting into good trouble. At 21, he was one of the original 13 Freedom Riders. At 23, as the chairman of SNCC, he spoke at the March on Washington. At 25, he led the march from Selma to Montgomery, in the process withstanding all the violence and hatred local and state officials could throw at him. Congressman Lewis went on to serve Atlanta on both the City Council and in Congress for more than 35 years, becoming the conscience of the Congress. The tireless work of heroes like John Lewis pushes me to continue pursuing equitable and just policies. Over the past 2 years, our country has had a much-needed awakening to the systemic inequality people of color face every single day. I promise to continue using my privilege as a member of Congress to try to break down that inequality wherever it is found. In that spirit, I am proud to be co-sponsoring some critical pieces of legislation being considered in Congress. H.R. 1, the For the People Act, a transformational bill that seeks to ensure free and fair elections, easy access to the ballot box, secure, nonpartisan redistricting, and puts people over dark money and special interests in elections. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, the first ever bold, comprehensive approach to holding police accountable, changing the culture of law enforcement, and building trust between law enforcement and our communities by addressing systemic racism and biases in order to help save lives. H.R. 40, which creates a commission to study reparations. H.R. 55, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. H.R. 959, to address the Black maternal mortality crisis in America. A resolution to recognize the difficulty Black veterans face when returning home after serving our country, and a resolution to award the Congressional Gold Medal, Congress's highest honor, to Freedom Riders. And of course, while it hasn't been introduced, you can be certain my name will be one of the first ones signed up to co-sponsor the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which will restore and modernize portions of the Voting Rights Act scrapped by the Supreme Court. The right to vote is sacred. John Lewis knew that better than most, and we must protect it. Nor is it enough to sign on to these pieces of legislation and call it a day. Just as Black history should be celebrated every month, every piece of legislation we consider must also be looked at for how it will impact our Black communities. Mr. Speaker, as I deliver remarks today in celebration of Black History Month, I would be wrong to not acknowledge that yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of the murder, yes, the murder, of Ahmed Arbory. A young man from my state of Georgia, Ahmed was killed while going out for a jog, a simple luxury that so many of us enjoy without fear of harm. Ahmed's case and the way it was handled continue to show us all that inherent biases and systemic racism remain prevalent in our society. We here on this floor must do everything we can to break those barriers down. And you have my word, I will continue to do so. Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.